Hi. Today I wanted to pop on, talk about joy again, but also I had an amazing facial, amazing peel with Brooke this morning, and I just wanted to show off how great my skin looks. I just love going to her and having my facials, monthly facials. I think I'm going to start to have them more than once a month because I deserve it and it feels so great. She put on SPF 50 so I can go out in my flower bed in a little bit, but just feels so great to pamper yourself once in a while, and you have to check her out. And Shannon also, they've got amazing services there, as you know, because this is her website. But today I wanted to talk about loneliness again out of the Book of Joy, because I think at least 3 or 4 of you DM'd me and asked me to talk a little bit about loneliness. And with this whole COVID thing, even though it's hopefully coming to an end, we're still nervous about going some places and having to wear masks. I was lucky enough to spend a couple of days in Santa Fe, and Santa Fe is very strict. And so we had to wear a mask on the plane from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and also in every shop and every restaurant and every place we went. And I actually got kind of a sore chin. I can't imagine how those doctors and nurses do it all day long. I had to do it for 1 day or 4 days. But you do what you have to do. But anyway, so some of you had asked me to talk about loneliness, and I've been doing some research. I'm going to talk more about that because it certainly affects many of us. And I found a study by her name is Lynn Smith Lobin. She's through the Better Business Bureau and Harvard Business Review and all of that stuff. But she said since COVID, the number of close friends people report having has reduced from 3 to 2 or from 2 to 1. And even though we have hundreds of Facebook friends, our true close friends are decreasing. And perhaps most concerning of all is 1 in 10 people said they had no close friendships at all. And that was really, I guess, hard for me to believe. But when you look at a bigger city like New York or Manhattan, and some of the, I know we flew into Dallas, and I think we have a very different culture in the Midwest. And it's one of the reasons we live where we do, because we have friendships and people know each other. We went out for breakfast this morning and met some old neighbors from St. Anne, where we used to live. And it was just so great connecting, and they waved to us and wanted to catch up and wanted to know about our kids and grandkids. And that's just such a great feeling to be able to have neighbors and friends and things like that. It helps with the loneliness. But the Dalai Lama in his book talks about we often are alone without feeling lonely. And many times we feel lonely even though we're with a lot of people and we're not alone. And I really did some thinking about that, because that's kind of a paradox. It's so true. Like sometimes if I meditate, or if I'm walking, or if I go to our cottage by myself, I enjoy being alone. I don't want to live alone. I hope I don't have to be alone, but some alone time is really good. And yet the next time we go to a party by ourselves, or we go out to eat alone, we feel lonely. And even though there are a lot of people around us, and so I just wanted to acknowledge that's very true. And he talks about what is the difference between being alone and being lonely. And they kind of bicker back and forth again. The Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu are such friends. And this is such an amazing book. And I just wanted to interject here that I'm going to have a drawing at Brooke's open house on for some books. I'm going to have a couple of these books, a couple of other things. And I have a holiday package about joy and making it through the holidays. With relationships and with eating and all of that stuff. So make sure you attend Brooke's open house, because she's going to have some amazing people there. But the Dalai Lama, getting back to feeling alone or being lonely, he says it's really a lot depends on our attitude. And if we're filled with negative judgment and anger, we will feel separate from people and we will feel lonely. But if we have an open heart and are filled with trust and friendship, even if we're physically alone, even living a hermit's life like many of the monks did, we will never feel lonely. And Brooke has a sign out in front today. I can't remember exactly what it says, but it says if you have to have any emotion or anything at all, make sure you're kind, be kind. And that's just what the Dalai Lama is saying. And he says, the only thing that brings happiness is affection and warm-heartedness and being kind. And that really brings inner strength and self-confidence, reduces fear, develops trust, and trust brings friendship. We are social animals, and cooperation is necessary for our survival, but cooperation is entirely based on trust. And I think I can only speak for myself, but my trust level went down during COVID. It was more fear-based, and I didn't trust, not that I didn't trust people, but I didn't trust going out. I didn't trust connecting with people. We certainly didn't hug and shake hands, and it's still kind of hard to reach your hand out and shake someone's hand, just wondering, you know, am I going to catch it and all of that stuff. But where there is trust, people are brought together. And whole nations are brought together. And again, I think we're so divided right now with politics and whether you should get the vaccine, not get the vaccine. And that really destroys trust. And it really, I think we've become quite judgmental, and hopefully we can back down a little bit and start to trust a little bit more, and to not be so fear-based, and to really be kind and start to be warm-hearted with each other. What the Dalai Lama says is, when you have a more compassionate mind and cultivate the warm-heartedness, the whole atmosphere around you becomes more positive and friendly. You can pick up right away on other people if they're angry or upset with you, or aren't happy about something. And we don't want to get close to people like that. And many of them are very lonely. And if we feel cautious and suspicious and distrustful, then we will feel lonely. And I think the pandemic certainly flared that up. And so hopefully we can get back to trusting and being warm-hearted again. Because he says when someone is warm-hearted, they are always completely relaxed. And if you live in fear and consider yourself as something special, then automatically you're distancing yourself from others. And so when we create the basis for feelings of alienation and feel better than, then we become lonely. And he says this excessive self-focus is bad for our own health. We definitely know that fear and mistrust causes high blood pressure. It can cause more stress. It affects our cortisol level, and that can certainly lower our immune system, which we definitely don't want right now. But fear and distrust does come from too much focus on ourselves, and it can cause us to remain separate from our brothers and sisters, our family members. And this whole COVID thing again, you got the shot, I didn't get the shot, all of that discussion really makes us feel better then. And so it brings loneliness and difficulty in communicating with other people. There's so many things we just can't talk about these days because of politics and because of the pandemic. And so, but when we're concerned, oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me just shut that off. Sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off. But when we're connected, actually, it's the refinery calling me to schedule my next appointment. So that's really great. Brooke was moving into her next client. So I'm sure that's Lana calling me with my next appointment. Yay. But when we're concerned with the well-being of other human beings, that inner door opens and we're able to communicate very easily with other people, and the loneliness starts to go away. And so the last thing he says is, what I've learned in my life is that by opening our hearts to others, we could feel connected to those people, whether it's on a mountaintop or whether in the middle of New York or whether in a very small town like New Holstein. But it is one reason that I choose to live here. My husband and I choose to live here. We're close to our kids, and people know each other and they care about each other. And that's just so important. So hopefully today and the rest of the weekend, you can open your heart, be less distrustful, being more trustworthy, be more trusting, and not be so lonely.